we discussed that the choice of sampling method depends on the type of data. Within this umbrella of continuous or discrete data type, sampling method does get impacted on how data is distributed. Is it uniform? Is it heterogeneous or mixed? So let's look at a practical scenario, though it's hypothetical yet quite common, and then try to apply the sampling science to it. These days the stress levels are quite high for the working professionals. Such mental state does affect the personal and professional efficiency of a person. Apart from many other professional factors, one of the contributing factors is the sleeping habit. Let's say we have to authenticate this theory and assess the impact due to it. Now, the first practical scenario is there are so many professionals in a company. There is so much of variance in terms of gender, age, roles, experience, social status, family size, and so on. So how do we select a representative sample? Let's look at a few cases to understand this. Let's start with a case where the need to study the state is in males only. Now all these guys, let's say they live in a posh society in independent houses. All are similar in age and have similar family background. Now there is a specific finding in this case. Finding is that professionals who are stressed have a habit of watching movies or other streaming media late at night, which in turn reduces their sleep time and sleep intensity as well, which obviously will further increase the stress level. Let's say every third villa has a streaming media on demand connection, something like Netflix. Now, these are the facts in front of us. To get representative data, it's important to sample every unique behavior in the group that can lead to irregular sleeping habit. Now, in this case, we know there is a systematic bias in the population data. That is, every third villa has a streaming media on demand connection. Since there is already a systematic bias in the data, the sampling method must not be systematic, as then it will lead to bias. Sampling method is said to have a systematic behavior when we pick a sample at fixed frequency or fixed position. Like in this case, if we would have picked every second house or every fourth house. In this case, since there is a systematic bias in data itself, and if we take this systematic sampling approach, there is a risk to select too many of the houses with the Netflix type of connection, or maybe too less of the samples as well. Hence, in this case, the sampling method should be such that each house or each male has an equal probability to be sampled. The choice of the next house should not depend on the previous house chosen. That is, it should not be like choosing every fourth house after the chosen house. So in this case, an unbiased sample would be when we pick up a sample randomly from the identified male group, as it will then negate any bias and give an independent representation. This method is called simple random sampling. This method is used when there is a known bias in the data, and using systematic sampling methods will lead to a biased outcome when samples should be random and independent of each other. So practically, how is it done? A random number generator is typically used to arrive at the first random number within the population size. let's say in all population has 100 data points, then the data point ranked at the random number generated is picked up as the first sample. That is, say the first random number is 11, so we pick up the 11th data point as the first sample, and this procedure continues till we attain the calculated sample size. This method is the pure form of random sampling, but the sampling effort is quite high in this case.